You wake up late. Your phone is already full of notifications. You check the time and instantly feel behind. Maybe you missed your workout. Maybe you skipped breakfast. Maybe you opened social media for 5 minutes and somehow lost 40. And right there, before the day has even properly started, your brain quietly decides, yeah, today's ruined. That's the real problem, not the bad morning. The decision that the bad morning means the entire day no longer matters. And almost everyone does this without realizing it. One small mistake turns into a full day collapse. You procrastinate harder because you already feel guilty. You avoid work because now the pressure feels bigger. Then the whole day becomes this weird mix of stress, avoidance, and disappointment. I know this because I used to live like this constantly. On bad start, and suddenly I tell myself I'd reset tomorrow. Tomorrow became next week. Next week became another month of feeling stuck. But eventually I realized something important. Most unproductive days are not destroyed in the morning. They're destroyed in the hour after the morning goes wrong. That hour matters more than people think. Because once your brain believes the day is wasted, it stops looking for progress and starts looking for comfort. That's when the endless scrolling starts. That's when you keep saying, it'll start after lunch, then after dinner, then tomorrow for real. The truth is, your day is almost never ruined. Your mindset about the morning ruins it. Think about this logically. If your friend had a bad morning, you probably wouldn't tell them to waste the next 12 hours. You wouldn't say, well, you overslept, so now just give up completely. But that's exactly what we say to ourselves. And the scary part is how automatic it becomes. A lot of people don't actually have a discipline problem, they have a recovery problem. They don't know how to mentally recover from small failures during the day. So, the first thing you need to do after a bad morning is stop trying to save the whole day. That pressure makes things worse. Instead, focus on saving the next 30 minutes. That's it. Not your life, not your entire routine, just the next 30 minutes. Because when people feel behind, they usually try to overcorrect. They make giant, impossible plans to compensate. I'm gonna study for 6 hours straight. I'm gonna completely reset today. I'm gonna become productive again immediately. And then they fail because their brain is already exhausted from guilt. A better approach is smaller and way more effective. Clean your desk. Take a shower. Drink water. Answer one email. Go for a 10-minute walk. Do one tiny productive action that reconnects you to movement. Momentum is emotional before it's practical. Most people wait to feel motivated before acting, but motivation usually shows up after movement, not before it. And this is important because bad mornings create emotional fog. Your brain starts thinking emotionally instead of clearly. You start saying things like, I'm so lazy. I always mess things up. I'm falling behind everyone. My routine is ruined. But none of that is objectively true. You're just frustrated. And frustration is temporary. One thing that changed my life was understanding the difference between a bad moment and a bad identity. A bad moment is, I had a rough start today. A bad identity is, I'm the type of person who can never stay consistent. Those are completely different things. But when emotions are high, we blur them together. That's why recovering quickly matters more than being perfect. Because disciplined people are not people who never mess up. They are people who return faster. That's the difference. And honestly, social media makes this harder. You open your phone and see people doing 5 a.m. routines, perfect workouts, perfect productivity systems, perfect lives. Meanwhile, you're sitting there in yesterday's clothes wondering how it's already 2 p.m. It makes you feel broken. But most real growth doesn't look dramatic. Real growth is deciding not to spiral after a bad start. That's maturity. There is also another trap people fall into after a bad morning. They start chasing dopamine to escape guilt. Food, videos, scrolling, gaming, endless breaks. Because your brain wants relief from the uncomfortable feeling of being behind. But here's the problem. Every hour you spend escaping the guilt creates more guilt later. So instead of asking, how do I feel better right now? Ask, What would make tonight feel better? That question changes everything. Because tonight's version of you does not need a perfect day. They just need evidence that you tried to recover. Even one meaningful task can change how you feel about yourself at night. That's why partial wins matter so much. A lot of people secretly believe a day only counts if it's perfect. That mindset destroys consistency. If you missed your morning workout, do 15 minutes at night. If you failed your study plan, study one chapter instead of zero. If your routine collapsed, restart one piece of it. Something is always better than nothing. Always. And honestly, this mindset becomes even more important when you are burned out. Sometimes the reason a bad morning hits so hard isn't laziness, it's exhaustion. You've been stressed for weeks, your brain is overloaded, you're mentally tired all the time. So one small setback feels emotionally massive. In those moments, stop treating yourself like a machine. You do not need to earn the right to restart your day. You're allowed to reset at 11 a.m. or 3 p.m. or 8 p.m. People waste so much time waiting for a perfect restart point. But your life changes the moment you realize you can restart in the middle of the mess, not tomorrow, now. And one practical thing that genuinely helps is changing your environment immediately after a bad morning. Get out of the bed, open the window, wash your face, put your phone in another room for a while. Because environments influence emotions more than people realize. If you stay in the same position scrolling and overthinking, your brain stays stuck in passive mode. Movement interrupts emotional spirals. That's why even a short walk can completely shift your mental state. Not because walks magically solve your problems, but because your brain finally gets a pattern interruption. And sometimes that's all you need. A small interruption, a small win, a small reset. That's how people slowly rebuild discipline. Not through extreme motivation, through repeated recovery. So the next time your morning goes badly, remember this. A bad morning does not deserve your entire day. Don't turn one mistake into a full day punishment. Don't spend 12 hours proving your frustration right. Save the next 30 minutes. Do one useful thing. Create one small win. Interrupt the spiral early. Because the people who eventually change their lives are usually not the people who never fail. They're the people who stop disappearing every time they do. So if today already feels messy, this is your reminder that the day is not over yet. You still have time to turn it around, even if it's only a little. And honestly, a little is enough to start.